Hello and welcome to Skills in Automation. My name is Ash and this is a video response based on a request in the comments for one of my videos. I have expanded the scope of the request to include how to copy, cut and paste rows of data based on a condition. So first of all, thank you for your question. I would encourage others to ask questions in the comments as well. This allows me to understand the requirements of my audience and helps me design future videos as well. Let's look at the specific problem statement. If a cell value is greater than 0, then we need to cut the entire row and paste it into another sheet. Before we begin with the solution, I will make some additional assumptions so that we are clear about the scope of our solution. First assumption is that even if we have a data set with multiple columns, we are going to look for values greater than 0 in just one column. Second assumption is that we will cut and paste the data within the row and not the entire row as such. And as mentioned earlier, I'm going to expand the scope to include both cut and copy methods. This is a data set. As per our condition, we will check for cells with values greater than 0 in this last column. And where are we going to paste this? We will paste it in the worksheet out in the next available row. And just a note, the worksheet out already has the column headers. Let's look at the first of the two solutions within this video. For this solution, we will use a for loop. So we will go through the solution, discuss some of its limitations, and then look at the next solution. Let's go to VB editor, Alt F11, create a sub, create and assign worksheet variables for our two worksheets. The worksheet with data is called in, and the worksheet where we'll output our results is called out. Let's clear out any previous data from the worksheet. We'll clear out all the data in columns A to G except for the header row. We are going to loop over the entire data set. For that, we will need the last row. There are many ways to find the last row of a data set. I'm going to go with the simplest one, where we'll count the number of rows in the current region. Let's declare a variable to hold the last row, and we'll assign it the count of rows in the current region. And just the count. Let's name an iteration variable for the loop. We will ignore the header row and start the loop from the second row to the last row variable. Let's put in a condition. We will use an if statement for that. If the value in the current cell in column G is greater than 0, then we can do something for that particular cell or that particular row. So if the cell in column G and the current row has a value that is greater than 0, then, so our condition out here is rather straightforward. That is, we just have one condition. But just for our knowledge, when we're looping over a data set, we can test the cell against multiple conditions using AND, OR, and select case. We can even compare values against adjacent cells. There's a lot you can do out here, but let's push on forward. Now, if this condition is met, that is, if the value in the cell in column G is greater than 0, then we want to cut the data and paste it into the worksheet out. But the question is, where within the out worksheet do we want to paste it? We need to find the next available row in this worksheet. Since there is no data in this sheet, the next available row is just row 2. But as we keep pasting data into this worksheet, the next available row will shift down. There are many ways to find the next available row in VBA. We will simply count the number of rows in the current region and add 1 to it. Let's declare a variable to hold the next available row, but we won't assign a value to it just yet. We will do this in this loop after this condition is met. This is because the current region will keep changing as we add more and more data to the worksheet out. So let's assign the next available row to our variable. So we'll count the number of rows in the current region, just as we did up here to find the last used row, and to find the next available row, we will add 1 to it. And now we can copy or cut the data within the entire current row in our data set. Let's define the range that we want to copy or cut. Our range extends from column A to column G, and it's within the current row, which is represented by I. So let's grab our range, which goes from column A in the current row to column G in the current row as well. Now we can cut or we could copy. The logic will still remain the same. I'll first create the copy method, comment this out, and then create the cut method. That way you'll have both methods for your reference. And we need to provide the destination where we want to paste our data. We want to paste our data in the out worksheet, in the cell starting from the next available row, in column A, which is the index 1. So this is the copy method, commenting this out. We'll just stick to the cut method, which is our original problem statement. Awesome. And that's it. Let's run this up. Come to our worksheet, go to the worksheet out. We can see that the entire row of data has been pasted over wherever the total charged is greater than 0. And we'll come back to our in worksheet. Because we did the cut method, we've left behind the rows where the total charge is 0. Before we move on to the next solution, let's discuss the limitations of the for loop. As the data set increases, the operation time will increase as well. On a larger data set, and I'm talking about 100,000 rows and 100 columns, this for loop could even hang. But if you want to maintain the same logic but increase speed, you could load the data set into a dynamic array and loop over it instead. But for smaller data sets, it really doesn't matter. I will always maintain that you can do almost anything in VBA using a for loop and an if statement. Any other technique is just icing. Okay, solution 1 is the best way to cut and paste the data. But if you want to just copy and paste the data, then the best way to do this is advanced filter. Let's look at that next. For those of you who are new to advanced filter, let's quickly go through how to use advanced filter within Excel. Advanced filter allows us to filter a data range based on certain criteria, and we can choose to either filter within the existing data set or paste the results in a separate worksheet. For our video today, we want to paste the results into a separate worksheet. There are 3 elements to advanced filter: list range, criteria range, and copy to range. The list range is a data set, and this must include the headers. The criteria range will include the criteria that we want to filter on. It must include the header of the column or columns that we want to filter on. For this exercise, we will need to create the criteria range. Let's create in the same worksheet. So in column J, we'll paste in the header name of this last column here, since this is the column with our condition. The header name in the criteria range must match the header name in the list range. And in this next row out here, we will put in our condition. For the condition, we need an equal to sign, and the condition will go into double quotes. And the condition is if the value is greater than 0. Enter. And that's it for the criteria range. We can add more conditions within this column or even more columns with conditions, but that's a topic for another video. And finally, our copy to range is the range where we want to paste our results into. This will just be the header row of the output worksheet. Okay, to use advanced filter in Excel, select any cell in the destination worksheet, go to the data tab, click on advanced, and this is our advanced filter menu. We will select the second radio button because we want to copy our results into a separate location. For the list range, we'll come to the worksheet in and select our entire data range, including the headers. Click on criteria range, come back to the in worksheet and select our criteria range, including the headers. And for the copy to range, well, Excel already figured it out. It is the first row from A1 through to G1. Click OK. The data set has copied over, which includes just the rows where the total charged amount is greater than $0. This is the exact same result from the previous solution, just the fact that the original data set remains intact, which is the equivalent of copying and pasting the data. Okay, let's see how to do this in VBA. The best part is this is super simple. Head on to the VBA editor. Let's create a new sub. Create the worksheet variables. Clear out the data cells in the worksheet out. Okay, now we need to define the 3 ranges for the advanced filter. Let's create variables to hold each of them. The list range is the current region of our data set, which starts from cell A1 in the worksheet in. So to assign a range, we need to set it. So it's the current region starting from cell A1. That's it. And the criteria range is the current region starting in cell J1, which is just this right here. And finally, the copy to range is just the header row of the output sheet. We could take the current region of the cell A1 in the worksheet out, but to be on the safe side, we will further specify that we just want the first row from that range. So now that we have the current region, we can grab the first row. And the code to transfer the results from the in worksheet to the out worksheet is just one line. Advanced filter is a method of the range object. The range that we want to refer to is our list range. So this one right here, dot, use the advanced filter method. We want to copy our results to a different destination. So we'll choose the first one, which is Excel filter copy. Next up, we need to specify the criteria range, which is just this one right here. And next we need to specify the range we want to copy it over to, which is this one right here. And that's it. Let's run this macro. Come back to the out worksheet. Awesome. Looks good. And this is super flexible now. Say we want to change this criteria. If you want to transfer only the rows that is greater than 90. Change this to 90, enter, come back to our macro, run it, come back to the out worksheet. And we can see only the rows where the total charge is greater than 90 have been copied over. Awesome. And I just want to highlight one more aspect of advanced filter. If we want to copy over a select group of columns, then we just need to specify those in the output worksheet. And they don't even need to be in the right sequence. Let's show you what I mean. Say we want to copy location, job description, discount, and day. So we just want to copy these 4 columns. Let's delete off this. Come back to our macro, run it, come back to the out worksheet, and we can see the data has pasted over and everything has come into the right location, even though we have scrambled the column sequence. And in summary, advanced filter is a lot faster than the for loop, but there are some merits for using the for loop as well. You can make the choice based on the requirements of your project. And that's the video. Can you think of another way to perform this operation? If so, let me know in the comments below. And if this video has added some value, please do like and subscribe. Thanks, and see you in the next one.